Good evening. This is Sizzle, powered by Fit to Be Trained, coming to you from Deep End Broadcasting Network studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, in the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to the network's YouTube channel, Deep End Broadcasting. Hello, everybody. This is Karen Dougherty, aka Sizzle. And you can find me all over the web, YouTube, internet, Instagram, all under the name Fit to Be Trained, or my name, Karen Dougherty.
I have it all up on the screen right now.
Cool. Thanks a bunch.
Don't forget Spotify and Apple.
Oh, yes. Yes. Please remind me every week to say that, because we obviously are on YouTube on this channel and the Fit to Be Trained channel, but we're now on Apple and Spotify. So listen in, follow us, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And everything wellness and fitness and sports and all kinds of fun stuff about fitness and health goes on in this podcast. So welcome, Steve, my buddy Steve. I love that we do this together every week. And my good friend,
go ahead.
My good friend Karen Edge is here. And I want to say a little something about Karen. Woo, yeah. I know. I never tire of that. Just don't. I like it when you do the Jesus one too.
Oh, you like it.
Sorry. I like it. And it's Easter. I mean, come on. That's a good one for this week. Yeah. So I am here with my good pal and colleague, really. I mean, we've been working together for quite a long time here in Virginia Beach.
10 years.
I know, has it been that long already? And we worked together about 5 together next to each other at a very high end aging. What do you call it?
Continuous living.
Yes, that was well said.
Oh, continuous living.
Continuous living. Yeah. That's what we're doing now. But it was a beautiful adult. What do I say? Mature adults. Mature adult community, Westminster, Canterbury. That's a beautiful place here in Virginia Beach. And Karen and I worked in the fitness department there. That's where we met. And what was so cool about Karen is I'm from New Jersey, Philadelphia area. And so is Karen. Karen's been in the fitness industry as long as I have, which is a long time. We're talking 80s, people. And I'm pretty excited to talk to my good friend and colleague who I respect so much. If you go back to some of the first podcasts, Karen, if you listen to Sizzle show, you'll hear your name. You're famous because I talked about how you are one of my go-to people for nutrition. Because nutrition isn't really my favorite subject. I know how to help people, and I know actually a lot more than I used to now. But there was a time where I used you as my go-to person. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I've always respected your knowledge on nutrition. And so I was hoping maybe we could touch on that a little bit today. And I'm going to let you take the floor as soon as I ask you, what is your favorite part about your fitness journey? Or how did you originally get into fitness? What was the defining moment that you said, I'm going to be a fitness individual?
Well, I was always an athlete. I was a surfer, a swimmer. I was on the swim team, dive team, just track all through school. I played sports. And we moved to Mount Pleasant, South Carolina in 1979. There were no fitness facilities in Charleston or Mount Pleasant, anywhere around there. And my brother-in-law owned a chain of, we call them spas, but we would call them today a gym. And Spa Lady. That's it. We opened the very first fitness facility in the Charleston area in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina in 1979. And
Girl.
it was full on exercise. We had jazzercise, aerobicise, strength and training. We had equipment. We had a sauna, an aromatherapy room, a steam bath. It was luxury. And the place was packed every day. It was amazing to see how much interest there was in fitness. Women wanted to come there and just have a ball, meet and greet and work out and have fun. And that's
now this is the same spa lady that I worked in, right? Same chain, not the same exact building, but the same chain, right? That I worked in 1984.
Yes.
In Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Cherry Hill. Yeah.
Oh,
how many
goodness.
spa ladies were there? How many franchises or stores were there?
Do you care?
Gosh, I don't know.
Okay.
There were, it ended up, my brother-in-law and his partner kind of branched off of Spa Lady, and they ended up opening International Fitness. Once it stopped being a spa, it became a fitness facility. And so they renamed it International Fitness. And they were all over the North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, obviously, and Georgia, Memphis, Tennessee. And it was a massive booming business back in that time because it was brand new. It was
brand new. Yes.
And it was so fun.
Oh, it makes me just have chills. It was so fun. I'm so glad that I got to get in there that young.
I was a guest on a TV show. It was called The Wellness Show. And when they invited me, I thought, wellness show? What in the world? What kind of word is that? The Wellness Show. I'd never heard it before. And so anyway, I went on as a guest exercise person or whatever. I don't know what I was at that time. And the director of the TV show said, "Hey, you want to do your own TV show?" I was like, "Sure, I'll do a TV show." So Fitness Finesse was born in 1980. And and that began my real journey into this fitness world. It just grabbed me by the throat and pulled me in, and I was hooked forever. So it's been a long, long time. Lots of love and lots of changes in the industry, but it's been very exciting to be involved in this industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And watching it, like we've been able to see a lot, haven't we? Even from it's outfits.
Yes.
Oh, to fitness equipment, fitness trends,
the leg warmers, the sweatbands. Oh God, yes. The big hair.
Remember the little arm bands?
Oh yes, the wristbands. Sure. Yeah, everything had to match. Sure.
What has kept you motivated through the years to keep going? Have you been steady in fitness, or did you kind of drift off somewhere, come back?
Yeah. If I didn't work in it, I was involved in it by just taking classes and going to gyms. What motivated me was how much fun I was having. I mean, it was just such a fun. I was getting paid to play. Right. I tried a couple of big girl jobs. I was a travel agent for a while. And I was a fashion coordinator for Sears for a few years, but I kept coming back to fitness simply because it was so fun. And
I know, right?
I figured, if I'm going to be there pounding away, I'm going to have a good time. And that's kind of what I did.
I too, I loved it. It was always a side job. I went to college. I did it at night. I got into the aerobics world because it was the 80s. Remember, it was all about aerobics and lifting. When then the circuit training came out, and Arnold obviously was already on the scene. Rachel McClish, Corey Everson. And that's where I went. I was like, oh my God, I love these weight trainers. This is so cool. Yes. And a girlfriend of mine was working in a gym that had the Nautilus stuff, and it was just all new. Everything was new. And it was just, wow, this is so cool. And like I could stick on that all day because it just makes me grin with what good times we had. It was fun. The music was fun. The outfits were fun. Everything was bright neon. Just silly ponytails, lipstick.
I just remember watching bodies transform and just being absolutely amazed. We didn't have a lot of science about it back then.
No.
Everybody was like, well, try this, or, you know, we had the big rollers that would go around, and if you could sit on them, people swore that it was beating the fat off of your butt and your legs. And
right.
there was people would spend hours on those things, just you know, having the
right. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
But the people that got involved in the classes and the aerobics and the strength training and the equipment, they saw muscles, they saw definition, and they didn't get all bulky. They got beautiful. And I saw that as just, wow, look what they did. And
I found it very beautiful. Like when I saw Rachel McClish, she was the first one I saw.
Those legs,
Corey came after her.
In town. Yes.
I know I got my first like bodybuilding book. It was a hardcover hot pink book with Rachel McClish on the front. And she was that beautiful brunette with, oh my God, it was like just that hot pink book. I can remember it. I wish I still had it, you know.
You got it, girl.
I wish I had that book, and it might have been, but then there was, I think she had a follow-up, like a purple one, but yeah, she was the bomb.com back then. And yeah, Corey Everson, I still follow her on Instagram though. She's still the bomb.com.
She's amazing. She's just absolutely amazing. I mean, all the old gals that have been around all these years.
I know they're popping up, like Retro Fitness is showing up on Instagram. I followed it immediately. I'm like, oh my God, I remember doing these videos, you know, like the firm. Remember the firm?
Oh God, yes. Yes.
Oh, it was just so great. So how has your career evolved? Like how, you know, now you're still fitness training, aren't you? You're still personal training and putting the time in. What are you doing now?
I am a personal trainer. I specialize in senior fitness. I like to take people that have lots of achy breaky body parts. As my brother says, I have achy breaky everything. And I help them transform their life by learning how to use what's available, strengthen what's available to them, and show them that life doesn't have to be uncomfortable and sitting in a chair, that there are options out there. It takes a little bit of work, takes some commitment, it takes good nutrition, it takes good commitment to yourself and to your wellness, and change a few habits. And to watch somebody, I had one of my most favorite clients, and I do adore him. Right now, he's going to be 86 years old next month. When I met him 3 years ago, he could barely get in and out of his car. He had to use his hands and knees to climb up his stairs. And he was in so much pain. And I thought to myself, oh boy, what am I going to do with this guy? So we just started very slowly. And here he is. He's doing push-ups, planks, back squats.
Oh, wow.
He is amazing. He is positively amazing. He walks about 2 miles a day.
Oh, fantastic.
Yep. And he has changed. His whole life has become, he says, my goals, I have goals now. And it's very exciting to watch somebody who didn't think there was any hope for them find something to look forward to. 3 days a week, he comes to me. And I have another young lady who, she's not that young. She's 64, I believe. And she came to me at, she was about 5 feet tall and she weighed about 210 pounds. And she needed a knee replacement. And the doctor said, I'm sorry, you're not healthy enough and you're too overweight.
Right.
So she came to me and she was very open-minded and very willing to make some changes. She has since then lost 85 pounds.
Good God.
Gotten her knee replaced.
Nice.
Her body is, you want to talk about definition. She is just amazing. And
that's so fantastic.
She told me the other day, she went to her husband is a great cook, and he sometimes fills in at a restaurant bar. And they went over there, and she said, there were these young guys hitting on me. And so she was like, I could be old enough to be your mother. And they started talking about fitness. And so they decided on a push-up challenge. And she said the young man was 22 or 23 years old. He got to 20 push-ups. Linda did, I shouldn't have said her name, but my client did 30.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff that makes me excited to go to work.
Exactly. Because you feel like, yes, it gives you purpose. It's wonderful.
Yes.
What are your biggest nutrition tips for clients moving into? I know how gifted you are in the nutrition knowledge world. What are some, no-brainers do you want us to think
Well,
about?
the first thing that comes to mind is a lot of women in particular don't eat enough.
Right.
Their biggest problem is they think less is more. And
we talked about that last week. Yeah.
It's a massive detriment to your, it's a big detriment to your body, to your health, to your development, your strength, and also to your immune system.
Right.
Unfortunately, if you have an injury, or even if you work out really hard, you've obviously done some damage to your muscles in order for them to repair, and it requires fuel for your body to repair these muscles.
Right.
So, so people that have a knee replacement or shoulder surgery, they have to eat. And the biggest problem is they don't want to. They don't recognize hunger. They don't want to get up and go fix food. So their body literally gnaws on itself to get well, because it needs calories. And people are afraid of food. There's so much negative information out there about food that people are confused and they don't know what to eat. So they don't eat.
Wow.
And I just find that to be a shame. That I think it's making a turn. I think people are starting to recognize that not enough food, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 calories, you're starving. Your brain needs 200 calories right off the bat. So if you've only fed yourself 1,000 calories, you only left 800 calories for your body to get well and stay strong, for your heart, your lungs, and your muscles to work. That's not enough. That is not enough.
I know. I know. They recently, I don't know if you saw it on social media, they recently posted the old 1969 Vogue diet of and I thought they said Helen Gurley Brown. I thought she was cosmopolitan, but she said, and this is back 1969.
Okay.
For a model to eat, or a girl that was going to have fun for the weekend, get up and drink black coffee, a glass of wine. At lunch, you get like a salad, black coffee, and a glass of wine. Later, you just get a glass of wine.
We probably tried all those. And then you don't care.
And so those girls did not eat, back in this. And this was like serious. She was serious too. She wasn't joking around. And it was just so fantastic. Everybody was passing it around because, first of all, there was no food. But I mean, I really like how she was so unapologetic about her glasses of wine. This is just on a weekend, though. She didn't mean during the week, but it was just no calories.
I mean, both of you, Karens, let me ask you this, because I definitely have a few female friends who think that, like less is more. They don't eat. The only way I'm going to lose weight is if I don't eat, which obviously we know that's the wrong answers. As good nutrition, as exercise, as a little bit of weightlifting, whatever the case may be. How do you convince someone who is stubborn in that kind of logic that they, just the only way to do things is not by eating?
Well,
I encourage people to start small.
Their food. Yeah.
Well, tracking their food is good, but some people, that's such an inaccurate way to do it. When I say inaccurate, some people just, they're licking the spoon at the same time and they're licking the jar. And I didn't track that, but I found that people that are afraid to eat, they're afraid if you put a big plate of food in front of what they think I'm saying is put a massive plate of food there. I'm talking about tablespoons, half a cup here, a cup there, increasing your protein, your healthy carbs, and your good fats a little bit at every meal. I'm not talking about taking that, instead of eating a whole chicken, maybe I know how ladies are. They take 2 ounces of chicken and, God forbid there should be more than a quarter cup of rice on their plate, and they'll fill the rest of the plate up with lettuce or carrots or something like that. And okay, that's fine. they'll find that if they will take those baby steps and instead of a quarter cup of rice, make it a half a cup, make it a whole cup, that's only 200 calories. 1 cup of rice is only 200 calories. That's nothing. And those are quickly absorbed. Those will give you energy. Carbohydrates are your body's fuel. They will make your brain, you'll get rid of that foggy brainness, the forgetful brain. If they don't eat enough, they get ringing in their ears. They don't sleep well. They're easily stressed out. It causes a lot of biological problems if they don't consume enough calories. So I ask my clients to start small and just be very much aware of the differences in how they feel and how they can perform. And once they start to see and trust the process, then we can add more food and start tracking and allow them to really, when I say, I want you to eat 4 ounces of protein 4 times a day or 3 times, whatever the case may be, that can be a lot of food for somebody.
Oh yeah, that is a lot. That's hard to.
Yeah, it's hard to trust the process. Right. But once they get over that hump of realizing I'm not going to get fat or big or gain all the weight back that I lost, and they begin to feel better, their body responds to calories. Exactly. It's trying to run your car uphill with no gas in it. That's just not fair. You're asking.
I am always so surprised.
That's a good way to put it. I like that with the car reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I know. Like any piece of machinery, we have to hydrate it and, fuel it and take care of it, keep it clean, work it out, ride. I think of my motorcycle, because I'm not really riding it right now. I'm getting ready to sell it. But sometimes that machine needs to be ridden, because the motor needs to be lubricated and all that stuff.
And
so
you
the
certainly
same thing
wouldn't
with the
hop
body.
on that without checking your oil.
Right. And I try and tell people that, like you said, the carbs is their friend. And I am always guaranteed when I take on a new client that I'm going to have the talk and the shocking revelation that they're going to get to find out that they're not eating enough.
Correct.
They're always like, oh, I'm overweight and this and that. And I'm like, well, I have some really good news. You're going to get to eat more.
What they actually are is
a lot different. Pardon me?
They're under muscled.
Right. Well, they can't fuel the muscle to make it. I mean, and it is hard to get, like when you're, like you said, when they're not used to, that I start them out with the protein. Like you said, I'd start them out. I'm trying, you can't tell them, all right, I need you to eat your weight in protein. That's the goal. That's what I want. That's what I tell them, though. I do want that, but I will start. I know they all like, what? And I'm like, that's going to happen to you and you're going to like it, but we'll start out small. I start
absolutely
out, just like you said, kind of slower, but I do like tracking because I want them to see what they're eating. Right. And you're right. Like, it's not like, I like how you said they're licking the spoon and they're not tracking that. Like, that was well said. It isn't guaranteed. Even for me, I'm guessing when I'm in there, but it does help me have an awareness of what's going in my mouth. Like, I'm getting ready to start tracking my food because I think it's always, we talked about this last week too. It's always shocking how much is really going in.
Without a doubt. Now they have this Chat GPT. This is an amazing AI device. I started tracking through this AI device. I just said, okay, I'm eating, and I told it what I had. I had, I gave the brand an English muffin. I had some avocado. I had some grapes, and I had a hard-boiled egg, and had a cup of coffee with a little bit of brown sugar in it. And it was like 450 calories. And I was like, what? You got to be mistaken.
I know. It's like, you're like, wow, okay, we're doing that. Yeah. I know. It is the hardest part about tracking for me is the actual putting it in my phone. Cause I'm always in a hurry lately. And, I really have good intentions because I really do want to drop a few pounds and kind of lean out and make sure I'm eating enough protein and all that good stuff. Because I too, like everybody else, have a hard time sometimes getting it all in. And we're busy, and it's a really good thing to eat every couple hours too. Like you said, not the big meals, but often.
Yeah. Well, another thing I think that carbohydrates have gotten such a bad rap. And I explain to my clients, I like to break the macros, which are protein, carbs, and fats. I break it down like this. A protein is anything that has a mouth and a mother. That's a protein.
That's cute.
If it had a mouth and it had a mother, it's a protein. And it can come in it can be a mussel from, the under the ocean, or it can be a cow or bird or whatever. And a carbohydrate is anything that came from the ground, whether it's on a tree, a bush, a plant, underground, came from dirt. That's a carbohydrate. Now, when you take that carbohydrate and you convert it into a brownie and a cookie, then it's a sugary carbohydrate. So now you're talking gray area where you don't want to focus on that. And fats, there is no such thing as like just a fat. A fat is a byproduct of some carbohydrates and some proteins. And like an avocado, almonds, walnuts, those include fat sources from their carbohydrates. And you'll get some fats from chicken and from steak and from eggs and that sort of thing. So understanding that carbohydrates are our body's main fuel source.
Right.
Protein is for muscle synthesis and for muscle recovery, for creating a sort of a time release hunger satisfaction. And carbohydrates are what you plug into the fuel. That would be for EV car, plug it into the EV station and charge your battery up. So the carbohydrates, we need them, desperately need them. And lettuce is a very low on the chain of carbohydrates. You need complex carbs like whole grains, corn. Corn is a whole grain. People, it's a wonderful vegetable grain, whatever you want to call it. Bread is not a bad thing, but if you load it with butter and things like that, then it becomes question. But carbohydrates are the fuel source that our brain's favorite food, our body's favorite food, and it's the most utilized throughout the entire body. Every organ in our body uses carbohydrates.
Well, I guess there's just a balance to that too. And there's good carbohydrates, obviously, and not so good ones. And you can see, with the trending, I even have on here, what are some of the trends that we've seen through the years with diets, the Atkins diet. That's where carbohydrates were told to, that's when it started. And that was probably 20 years ago, that carbohydrates are bad,
more than 20 years.
About,
that may be more than 20 years.
It might be. I mean, I've been in the industry over 30. I can't believe it, but I feel like Atkins was pretty new in there. I was probably in there about 10 years. I feel like it came in my 30s. People were all jumping on the bandwagon.
Well, it is effective because it teaches your body how to convert it to only burn fat, but it's not a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. Yes, you will lose pounds, but you will then inadvertently increase your cholesterol, potential for atherosclerosis, for hardening of the arteries, demencia, contributing.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, there's a lot of things. All of those things can be influenced by a high-fat diet, which you may look good on the outside, but what's happening on the inside can be not what you want.
Isn't that something? That's a lot of things in life, isn't it? You can look good on the outside. And that happened to me, even in a fitness, I was in my early 30s. My back was killing me and I didn't know why. And I was, I started my fitness career when I was like 19, 20, so I was young and I wanted to know what happened, what was wrong with me. And luckily it was just that, guess what? My core wasn't as strong as it should have been. And here I had been in the industry already for, 10 years. But if your core is for some of us, you have to really focus and do, that's how I got into Pilates, to be honest with you. I wasn't going to go down that rabbit hole, but that's when it happened in my 30s. I went there to just out of I'd heard of yoga, and yoga
Mhm.
helped me temporarily, but I was like, what's this Pilates stuff? And that's how it helped me, because it strengthened my core right away. And I think what happens too is I'm always talking with my clients that muscles go dormant if they're not used. And a lot of those smaller muscles, like, you can be really strong and young and fit and have a weak core and not even know it and look
Right.
wonderful,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
Well, I'm
you can
seeing a
look good
big
on the
trend.
outside and not be on
Yes.
the inside.
I'm seeing a big trend towards people recognizing that lifting weights is not the end all, that you do have to incorporate core strength, Pilates, yoga, stretching, bar, whatever it is to isolate the core, that lifting weights are great and it's fabulous
Yeah.
for keeping your skeletal system strong. I mean,
Yes.
to prevent the diminishing effects of years of no resistance on your spine, and it begins to shrink. Then you have sciatica problems, and you have shoulders that go awry, and it's just trickle down effect. The head starts
All the
moving
neck
forward.
pain. That's what I
Right.
work with. And that's why I like Pilates, because it is about
Mhm.
realigning the body. And
Mhm.
therefore, I'm kind of just trying to stay in good posture too.
Yes.
Fight it, pull the head back, pull the face back,
Yep.
try to keep the spine in neutral, engaging that pelvic floor.
Yep.
It's all very, very
That's it, honey.
important.
And that's like the new thing. Yes, you want to work out and lift weights, but you are only doing half the job if you're not incorporating your Pilates, your yoga, and
because mobility
balance, posture
is,
alignment, all of that. It's just, as we age,
for
we
me,
lose balance, we lose posture. Yeah.
my hips were so tight. I saw this mobility challenge online and I was like, oh, I want to try that. And I couldn't do it. I was like, oh my God. And I'm a Pilates trainer, but because I love lifting weights, and I had been doing box jumps and doing stuff that day. So I have to do my mobility if I want to keep going and playing in the other gym, so I started practicing, and in a couple of days I was able to do it, because it was almost like a greased up a machine that needed to just be moving internally and externally, different than what I do in my Pilates mat class. Because a lot of times as trainers too, we do the same thing so much, our body gets used to it. And all of a sudden you find a spot where you're like, oh, I haven't moved that muscle in a while. It's kind of,
I applaud you for staying so strong and true to your CrossFit, because that is not for sissies. That is a powerhouse of a workout. And
you before you say that, you got to come see me do it. I have made it for sissies, my friend. I have made it for sissies. And I'm lucky enough at Takeover that they're letting me do it. And
I think it's fantastic.
So nice.
Appropriately scaled is the right terminology.
Exactly. But I had to say that. Yeah. I'm having a great time. And I joke with friends.
I'm right there with you, Karen, on that.
I mean, CrossFit now is very fun. Very fun. It used to be hard when I was in my 40s.
When I started
now that I'm aging and I modify everything, it's great.
CrossFit, I just remember going in there. I was the oldest person in the gym. And at the time, it's been about 15 years. So I was in, early stages of CrossFit. I was like 60 years old, and I'm like, I can do this. I can do this stuff. Oh, I just remember these guys standing in my face, screaming at me, one more. I thought, you people are crazy. They're trying to kill me. I can't do this.
And that was the beginnings too. That was 15 years ago, and it has evolved lot since then. And
they're not in your face anymore. I think they must have said something to the coaches like, don't scare these people away. Don't scream in their face.
And I think it goes by gyms, but I think CrossFit has matured just like all of us in it. We're all 15 years older now. Nobody's screaming in anybody's face anymore.
Oh, God.
We're too tired.
Right.
Or they might be packing anymore.
So speaking of that, fun throwbacks and things that you've seen in the industry, do you have anything that is just, I mean, God, I
do remember that in the early 80s, between 1980 and 1983, because I had my daughter in 1983. those 3 years, we were living in St. Louis, and I was working for a company called Vic Tanny. And Vic Tanny was a chain of spa gyms in the St. Louis area. There was about 6 of them out there. And I was the aerobics queen, and I was teaching 16 1-hour classes a week, high energy aerobics with no shoes on a concrete floor that just had crummy carpet glued onto it.
Yeah.
And I broke my body.
We didn't know. I know. We didn't know that kind of stuff, did we? Idea.
You just took an aspirin and got back out there and taught the next class. And it was, thank God, now it's like I limit myself to a few classes a week, and I don't go crazy. And if somebody's doing, I will modify for me as you do for your CrossFit. I know my limitations. I try to push myself a little bit, but I don't go cuckoo. I'm very kind to Karen these days.
And you are like a fantastic dancer, I have to say. Like, you are very good. I believe every second about you saying that you were the aerobics queen. You were. I would be the princess, but you would certainly be the queen. And I would be the princess that would need a little work.
I don't think so. We had a lot of fun jiggling around it.
I know. Like, I was always the more, I did great with aerobics too. I really, really enjoyed them, but I was always more the athletic one, which is surprising that I went into Pilates, because Pilates is so dance. And I love working with the dancers and learning so much. Because Pilates and dancers get along really, really well. And
very much so.
I know it is really cool. I have so much respect for dancers. Always call them athletes. They like that because they are. They're great athletes. But you have always had so much more swag than me. Like,
it was that glass of wine after breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I know, right. Yes, I swore it was Helen Gurley Brown, which is cosmopolitan, but it did say the Vogue diet. Yes, a glass of wine every breakfast.
Just kidding.
I just love those girls. And they're out there smoking Marlboros on the corner in New York City, getting ready to do a modeling gig. I remember flicking a cigarette walking into the gym when I was a young girl. I mean, it just wasn't that weird,
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
It was the 80s. It was just so great.
Yes. We had our role models were smokers and drinkers.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? And that wasn't frowned upon back then. Like, you could be a fitness person and smoke cigarettes. It wasn't even that weird. And it was told to me that you wanted a cigarette. Notice when you would leave the gym, you'd want a cig, and it was because the endorphins were up, from doing your workout, that we were like, just like, you want to have a cigarette, lots of different times. Craziest fitness trends we've seen come and go. There have been so many, I don't even know where to start.
Well, I think that, as we spoke before, that people are starting to recognize that, the surface muscles are really important, but boy, you got to narrow that core down.
Yeah.
And keeping the joints, mobility is getting really, really big.
Thank God. Now. Yeah.
Like
stretch labs. Yeah. I mean, they even have places that are just full on stretch, and that's wonderful, because my girlfriend's husband goes to stretch lab, and she's like, doesn't you think he needs to be working out? And I go, you know what? He needs to be doing something. And the fact that he's going there, we're signing on.
Yes, exactly.
He's just do. Right. I remember, if I learned nothing in college with fitness, do whatever the client will do.
If they're moving. They're moving.
If they're moving, yes. Sure. So like stretch lab is good for him. He likes it. He goes, he shows up for his appointments, and he gets stretched. And if that's all we're going to get out of him, that's better than nothing, right?
Absolutely. Sitting kills. We all know that one.
Isn't that when you first wake up, isn't that the first thing you really should be doing?
Well, yeah. Look what a dog or a cat does.
Yep.
Absolutely. Just wake your body up, and all those ligaments. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but they might stretch some while they're sleeping. If you're in a really deep sleep, your body will, if it's tight and tense and it needs to stretch, your body may spontaneously stretch in your sleep a little bit. But if
I think I do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think I curl up in the ball, and then I'll stretch and get back into the ball.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
That's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So your body is telling you, hey, we need to stretch. Let's do this more.
Exactly.
And you're right.
I always say that your body does know what it wants, but it will do the least path of resistance. It will. It's still,
Very
you have
true.
to have some discipline, and that is part of it. One piece of advice you might have for someone who's starting their fitness journey.
Walk.
Okay, gotcha. I know I just posted something about that the other day.
Walk.
And I got some feedback. Like I got some leads from just that post talking about walking.
Just
because
get out in the sunshine,
really,
get a little vitamin D.
Exactly.
Yes, you might have a little pollen out there, but enjoy nature. Leave your phone at home. Leave your watch off. Take your watch off. Disconnect from the world. Go out there and enjoy the air, the sky, the birds. Listen
the
to
birds.
The
birds are busy. It's spring. It's so lovely.
And just 15 minutes can get you started on a completely. You will have a whole different attitude in your life. 15 minutes.
I know that's what I told a friend of mine, to walk 7 minutes out of her house, or even 10, and then 10 back. And when you break it down like that, they're like, really? That's it? And I'm like, yeah. And that's a 20-minute walk. Just look at, all you got to do is walk for 10 minutes and then turn around and go back. And then it's so doable. You know, they're like, God, I never thought of it like that. So it's like breaking things down into micro goals is always how I've ever dealt with anything in life. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, where can people connect with you? Like, should we?
I work for Fitness 24/7, which is on Little Neck Road, right across from Home Depot and adjacent to Sam's. And I'm there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I do have an email and cell phone that I
send me your info, and I'll go ahead and put it up on the podcast. So if anybody needs to get in touch with you, they'll have your stuff and be able get in touch with you fairly easy.
No problem.
So anything next in your fitness journey, in your world, anything coming?
Well, right now, Cheryl, our dear friend Cheryl Justice, we're both doing a balance class at Fitness 24/7. We have 8 people that are confused about avoiding balance. It's not quite the fall proof that we taught at Westminster, but it's certainly more about strengthening the legs, what to do, how to get out of a chair, this sort of thing. So we're really focusing. We've found that there's an awful lot of seniors out there that need a little bit more assistance than they're getting, and a little bit more direction on how to navigate being older. And so that's really my focus right now, is focusing on nutrition for seniors. That's kind of my leeway right now. I do have a couple of what I call young hard bodies that I work with, and they're really fun. But my passion is to help someone who has been, diminished capacity, for lack of a better word. They're a little bit weaker. They've gained some weight over the years. Their hormones are all screwed up, and they don't sleep. And the plethora of problems, and we just sort of take them by the hand and gently cradle them and pull them through that stuff and get them to
Please send me all your information so we can post all this, because it's important. It really is. And Karen, I've seen you in action, and I know what you're capable of, and I'm honored to be your friend. And you too, I'm
Sizzle.
Honored to be a colleague of yours. I got to see Ned the other day.
That is great.
I do. I love that name. It's just the best. And Sizzling, you have to be a certain age to even know what that stuff is. And everybody goes, ew, when you hear it. I go, I know, right? Sizzling. It didn't last very long, but it is a cool name. Sizzling.
It's awesome.
Well, thanks, Karen. Thanks so much for coming and spending time with us. I appreciate you so much. And
you as well, Karen.
Yes, let's keep in touch. And like I said, send me that information, because that is important. I like that balance class stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen.
All righty. Y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
That was good.
She's out of there. All right. You want to wrap up the show? We're not wrapped up yet.
No, we're not wrapping up yet. Oh, look at me. I'm looking over at my phone. Thank God I didn't say anything inappropriate. I'm glad you told me that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah, she always never lets me down. She's just such a good friend too, So I've been lucky and I've mentioned her in past podcasts. So it was kind of cool that I got to have her on.
Very motivating, especially for someone like me.
Well, she really knows her stuff too. Like she always has been kind of a nerdster in the nutrition department. And by no means a nerd personality wise. She's super classy, fun, and cool and sassy and all these wonderful words, but she really knows her stuff. And I'm kind of a nerdster too. And we kind of grew a bond over that at work, I really enjoyed working with her at Westminster because I too have this similar mission. I like helping people that are aging really find some fun in fitness and learn about their their mobility and how important all that stuff is. But Karen's the whiz kid on the nutrition department. I'm not quite, as you can tell, she gets into it.
Very smart and savvy.
Very smart and sassy. Yes, she is. But thanks, Steve, for having another week with me. I appreciate it.
Yep. Good job. We'll do it again next week.
Sir. All right. Same place, same time.